We need to move toward a single rate tax system. If we do this, America will prosper, and we'll be able to have a more robust, meaningful dialogue about the cost of government.
Well, it looks like Art Laffer is recruiting some new blood for his flat tax fight. Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee joining the push for what he says is a cleaner, simpler, and better tax solution. And unlike D.C. outsiders, he actually has the power to do it. Senator, welcome to the show. The flat tax thing has been brewing around for about 4 or 5 years now. Every now and then it gains some steam and then it loses steam. Do you think there's any sort of reception for it in D.C. at this time?
I certainly think there needs to be, Charles, and I think this is a good opportunity for us to revisit the idea. As we have a president who's trying to pit one group of taxpayers against another, promising to increase government spending but make only one group of Americans pay for it, we need to revisit the fact that anytime we raise taxes, even if it's only raising taxes nominally on the rich, we're making all Americans more poor. And in some ways, we jeopardize to an even greater degree those who are at the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum.
I do agree with that wholeheartedly. And to be quite frank, this division, pitting one person against another, and I'm digressing a little bit. Think about 4 years ago at this time, when everyone on both sides of the aisle sort of said, you know what, we had a historic election, maybe this country will come closer together. And now we're being ripped apart because someone down the street is marginally more successful than their neighbor. I find it to be despicable, but what I also don't understand is why the Republicans haven't been able to articulate their message. In other words, the flat tax. What would you tell the person at home making, I don't know, $40,000 a year, thinking that the fat cats have all the advantages, why the flat tax is so much better?
Because we have to remember that our income tax system serves two purposes. One is to fund the operations of government, but the other is to communicate accurately to the voters the true cost of government. Our current system performs the first function poorly because it produces a volatile, inconsistent revenue stream, and it performs the second function even more poorly because it deceives some Americans into thinking that the government costs them very little or even nothing, when in fact they pay for higher taxes on other brackets. They just pay for it in terms of increased prices on goods and services and through unemployment and diminished wages.
Yeah, I agree with you once again. I want to change pace here just a little bit. Monday night, Representative Boehner asked several members of the Tea Party getting a tremendous amount of negative press, and a lot of people saying that they're done, that, let's stick a fork in them. What would you say to those people?
Well, look, the fact is that this grassroots political movement that started in 2009 is not going anywhere. It has become a part of what the Republican Party is. All Americans agree that the federal government has become too big and too expensive, and that's what this movement stands for. And so, look, this is an important part of our future moving forward, is a group of Americans who are coming together saying we've got to control government spending.
That's true, but you have to give some credence, though, perhaps to people who might say, you know what, right now, Senator Mike Lee would have 5 additional colleagues if not for some of these Tea Party candidates who blew what were obviously layups.
That is absolutely false, Charles. Anyone who says that doesn't understand the movement or is an enemy to the cause of conservatism itself. I mean, look at the wins that we did achieve this year. The new Republican senators that we have, including Ted Cruz of Texas, including Jeff Flake from Arizona, and Deb Fischer from Nebraska, all elected with substantial Tea Party support. Those Senate candidates who are Republicans who did lose races lost in large part because they got off message. They stopped focusing on the basics of government downsizing and simplification. And had they stuck to the message of government reform, perhaps they would have gotten elected.
You know what? I tend to agree with you 100%. I'm being given a rap signal, but just for me, I happen to think the Tea Party is phenomenal, and I wish they would get back on the grass. Forget about the websites for now. Forget about running for office. I love when they were out there holding both parties accountable on the grass with the powdered wigs. That's where I say they need to get back. And thanks for pushing the flat tax. A lot of Americans think that is the answer. Senator Lee, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Charles.